welcome back to Subculture, where we are educating everyone on kinks and letting you know what is out there in the world. And today we have Melissa Louise with us, and she is in the middle of doing a 6-week course right now called Fully Charged. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, it is so fabulous to be here. I love this. One of my happy places. So thank you. I really appreciate the invitation. So yes, I'm Melissa Louise. I'm known as your absolute pleasure advocate. To me, it's like we lead our intimacy in a revolutionary way. I'm a certified erotic blueprint coach, up-level coach. And with all of that, I guide individuals and couples. So men and women and couples into emotional fluency, erotic confidence, and their true, deep, authentic connection. Because to me, this is where our true freedom lies. So, and yes, right now I'm at the beginning in week 2 of an incredible all men's program. It's been a while since I've done it, so it's so exciting to be back doing it again. So yeah, I love it.
I love that. And you said that you have 25 years of experience with this.
Yeah, to over 2.5 decades. It's very interesting how I started. It was I had a partner at the time his South American partner, Argentinian. And so he and I were really amazing at our lovemaking, all of that stuff. And he taught me a lot, just around men's sexual energy and how he moved his energy around. Um, and I had a housemate. We call that in Australia, a housemate. There's 5 or 6 of us living in a house. This is my 20s. So I'm just in Sydney, 5, 6 of us. I was actually my partner, I was married to him at the time.
Yeah.
For a minute. I love marriage. It's happened twice. I love my husbands. So we're all living in a house together, and it was all kind of like not so much backpacking, but everyone's like got 2 or 3 jobs. And this young girl, her and I would spend each Sunday together, but she would spend the whole week. She said she was cleaning at night, but she would come in at like 5, 6 in the morning. With
I love
a,
cleaning in the middle of the night.
Oh, that's right. Cleaning offices in the middle of the night. I was so naive. I'm like, wow. And so I wanted to get a job. Like, oh my God, because that's what happened. She started getting massages from me because I was studying. I was studying natural medicine, nature care. I was studying massage, all of this stuff. And so she started getting massages from me, and I'm like, how can you afford a massage? She's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, we're all sort of, trying to get all of our rent together. So
Yeah.
anyway, we went for a drive. I had this van, and we go for this drive up the mountains, Blue Mountains. She's like, Melly, I actually want to tell you what I do at night. And I'm like, you already have, like, you clean. She goes, well, not really. I'm like, oh, like just da, da, da. And she said she was working at the Penthouse as a hooker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't give eyes. I said, oh, really? Like, oh, I was so fascinated. But she had the girl next door. So she was describing to me the way that she worked and how exhausting it was and all of this stuff, because she would do 8 to 10 clients a night, 45-minute bookings or half-hour bookings. I'm like, what do you mean? You go in, you check them, you take clothes off, they shower, it happens, and they leave all within 30. I said, why is it so fast? She goes, what do you mean? I said, honey, you've got to like massage him in a way. And I was just like, she said, what? I said, oh my God, tonight I'm teaching you. I'm going to get Gianni in his class. I said, I'm going to teach you to show you, we'll use a cucumber first and da 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 da. So I teach her how to massage a guy because I just thought it was normal. And this is what my partner and I did.
And
So
erotic massage or a therapeutic massage?
oh no, erotic massage on the cock
Okay.
so that he doesn't ejaculate. Because, like boom, boom, A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
And I was just bamboozled. I thought more people knew about this. And so then she goes to work and all of her bookings change. So she's the girl next door, Kiwi girl next door, having all of these short bookings. Then what's happening is she gets clients, they don't ejaculate, so they need to extend the booking another half hour. So admin or the owners call her in going, are you selling drugs? Like your bookings have all changed. She goes, oh no, my housemate has taught me how to make men last longer. She comes home. They want me in to teach the girls. I'm like Miss Hippie going, what the fuck? So
Hell yeah.
weird. Obviously some girls are like, no way. And some girls were. And I made the Penthouse a lot of money.
That's amazing.
Because all of these women learn how to stop men from ejaculating. I went, oh my God, this is a real thing. Then I moved to Byron, and all of these things happen. And then I do my first tantric workshop, a whole 3-day workshop up in Byron. And I hated it.
Yeah.
But the knowledge, I didn't like the community around me. But if I was to be in that same room again now, who I am, I think I probably would love it. But I was so, all of my buttons were pushed about, all of the belonging and the care and the fact that everyone was so open, and that really pushed my buttons because there's such a shutdown. I'd just gone through separation with the father of my child. I'm a single mom. So there's all of that stuff going with it. But I was just sitting there going, I know I belong here, but all my buttons are being pushed, and it took a while. And then I just got more of the language with it. And then everywhere I've just been studying, 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 studying. And so just been working with men. That was my clients for the first 10 years. And I started working with their partners, and I just started working with women. And now we're 2.5 decades on.
That's
And that's
wonderful.
my jam.
I've noticed, well, I've been a stripper for coming up on 15 years in a couple of months. And at first, you go in blind, nobody really teaches you anything. Just like sex, nobody like teaches you the erotic side of it unless you kind of play off of porn or you actually talk to your friends about it. And same with dancing. It was sales. I talked to the men, hey, want to dance? But then I started to read all of the reviews on the club that I've worked at. And this was a couple of years in. And I noticed that women and couples always commented that no one even said hi to them. No one walked up to them. And so I started to walk up to couples first and then the single or groups of men second. And now, like, our club has a couples night every Saturday. And now I don't skip a Saturday, and I cater to the couples. And I teach the other girls, like, how to talk to couples. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, well, it's not hard, but I'm also bisexual. So I have already, like, I've hit on women, I've hit on men, I've been in a polycule. And I have to remind myself that not everybody understands. Like, I even have to dance for women differently. It's always been fun, and it kind of turned into a niche without me realizing it.
When I'm hearing you share that, I'm thinking about when I went in and the women that didn't want to learn. And there's a real, I was really nervous. I'm going in amongst, and when I'm thinking about my whole journey for the work that I do with women and how I'm really comfortable in my skin today, and I wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
For most of my life. And there is that whole thing around competition between women. So when we're looking at women talking to women, when there's sex involved or sensuality involved in the competition. And so just as I was hearing your story, I just had a absolute visceral experience of that memory of me being really nervous what these women would think of me, feeling like the dagger eyes from some of the women's like, well, who the hell she is, which is totally understandable. I'm going to teach you how to treat men. Like, who is this girl? And she's with the girl next door girl. Yeah, she just rocked up to work, but it worked for her. It was just, yeah, really interesting. And that's been a huge part of my journey is deconstructing and really pulling down these walls. And now in the world that I am like coming into Kenny K. Stevens' world, becoming an up-level coach, really diving into the practicalities, the realization that we are designed to be, our whole aspect of human nature is polyamorous, as in community-based, getting our needs met from many. And this is even before sex, but of course the need of sex as well.
Yeah.
How our whole culture is really based on competition, suspicion, fear, and silence.
And I
On
feel
all
like that's torn communities apart.
yeah.
Even when it comes to something as simple as parenthood, I've seen
Mhm.
people just not be able to feel like they can ask questions without being judged, let alone intimacy with friendships or intimacy with a partner. And it's turning into uncharted territory, even though humans have been around forever. We have evolved psychologically, but at the same time, we've also been torn apart in a sense
Mhm.
as of late. And it's really hard to see that. I don't have children. Me and my partner don't plan on having children. And that's one of the many reasons why. So it's
Mm.
hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was a single mama. My child was a 2.5, the quintessential 2-year stuff. And it was quite the journey as I went around. I mean, I raised in between Central and South America. I always say I escaped Australia. It's not far from the truth. It's a whole nother podcast. One day, I think I'm going to be
Yeah.
80. I'm going to let it all out when I'm just like untraceable. Um, but the whole journey of as a woman raising a child, and everyone talks about in a whimsical way, it's like, oh, it takes a village to raise a child. Where's the fucking village? Like I just got so over that saying. It's like, yes, well, it takes a village to raise a child. Da, 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 da. But also to many people's minds, this village concept is still very isolating. It's like, it's a fun thing to say, but they're all still going out and working on their own. And, when we look at man, woman in a house, the monopoly structure
Hmm.
of a relationship. I actually just released an article this morning around this, like, how it's actually monogamous style relationships, which are actually monopoly style because we're not monogamous just by our hormone setup. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's a whole other rabbit hole. My God. How it's actually really damaging. Monogamy style, isolated style raising of children damages boys more than it damages girls because of the way that cortisol in utero, cortisol in the mother's body affects the frontal lobe, the cortex here of boys as opposed
Hmm.
to it affects our hormonal system. And if we have a look at this is going to be a whole book, I feel, but if we have a look at the issues on a cultural level, even if we just take it on a basic view, like easy view, the issues with men, high suicide rates, the male lonely academic, addiction, when we look at the emotional side that's punished, so violence. Look at prison, like the percentage of men compared to women in prisons and all of that stuff, and violence, stress, mothers. It's all set up in utero. Then when we have a look at the issues women have with their menstruation cycle, that is what stress affects. It affects the hormonal cycle, the hormones in a female fetus. And we have a look at the issues that girls have with their menstruation and with their uterus that is just unheard of in any fucking time in human history. We have
I,
never been so fucking sick,
I know.
ever.
I saw a study where, or maybe it was a statistic, where they were talking about how there were less child deaths and the most healthy children born after and during COVID because women were forced to relax at home because we couldn't leave home. And instead of having to be on their feet and working all the time, thank you, late stage capitalism, they were at home working from home in a chair or laying down because of the stipend that we were receiving, and more
Wow.
healthy babies were born.
No, also too, you think babies come out of belly onto breast and chest and stays there. No one can leave home. So where's the baby? The baby's held. The baby's meant to be held. I remember I was when I was pregnant. I was very, very blessed. If either my child, I didn't need to work. And I've always said that to my son, like, I'm so blessed,
Hmm.
regardless of all of the other stuff that's gone on, regardless of whatever. I'm so grateful that I had the pregnancy and the first 3 years with my child the way that I did. Like, it changed the trajectory of my life. And so during the 9 months of pregnancy, because I never wanted to have a child, so when I became pregnant, I'm like, all right, all I'm doing is researching. So I was doing so much research, reading so many books, continuing concept, home birth, not cutting the cord. It's researching what the placenta was. It's not a waste product, by the way.
Hmm.
Mine is not the hospital's. I snuck into one in Sydney, and there was another. Where did I go? Somewhere else. I snuck into two. When you're pregnant and you walk into a room, no one stops you. They're all shit and people leave you alone. So
Yeah.
I would just walk into things. I'm just like, oh my
Hmm.
God, look at that. There's a conference for doctors and midwives at such and such a theatre. I'm off. And then I'd go and just grab something and just put a pin on there and write my name on something. I'm meant to be here. And
Yeah.
this archaeologist was speaking at one of these. And his statement was, how he opened up his talk was, a baby that is born 2,000 years ago. So this is like 2020. What are we? Is that 2026?
Yes.
25. Sorry, we're in 26. So 2005, he was talking, is going, a baby that is born today has exactly the same needs, and is no different to a baby born 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago.
Hmm.
They need breast milk. They need to be held basically 24/7. They need to sleep and hear the mother's heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
They need to, they need this for 2 years. They need breastfeeding for 2 years because the breast milk changes along with the brain development.
And
So
if you're sick, it helps the baby with the antibiotics and
everything.
everything.
We're designed. The mechanism of our body is the most exquisite and intelligent thing on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is in coherence. So yeah, just that the thing that's changed is our needs, our need that we have to work. So the baby needs to be separated and placed into strangers' hands to be looked after. Our need to like get our lives back because of what society, because also too, mothers are our need to also get out because we don't have community at home. So a baby's not even meant to be raised by a mother. It's
Yeah.
meant to be raised by 26 women, basically,
And then,
handed around.
another thing with late stage capitalism is always having to rush and, like you said, having to get back to work. But then that ties back into intimacy as well. And that's when everything turns to toys, robots, having appointments and having a time limit because people are always told, make the most of your day or you will not make it. And I had a customer ask me the other day because I was explaining the different kinks that I'm allowed to cater to at the club because I live in a very conservative state and the rules are weird to where I can't even show my pubic hair because according to the law, it is my vagina,
Oh my God, that
which
wording, hilarious.
I was talking to a gentleman about rope play or shibari. I'm sure it has many other names, but I know it as shibari. And he said, well, if you like being tied up, don't you get impatient waiting for someone to do all of the knots and going slow to get it done right? And I said, well, do you ever do foreplay? And he said, yes, I love taking my time. And I said, okay, associate that to the rope. That's just foreplay. I'm
Mhm.
trying to calm myself, get my mind right, trying to push everything else out so that I can tunnel focus on where I am and what I'm doing. And it's
Mhm.
the same thing. It's so hard in this day and age, and I'm sure it's hard for lots of people at any time to just stop and take a minute. And I know you were talking about massaging the cock so that it doesn't come, and that ties back into that as well. And I think it's wonderful.
It's, my favorite, I love that whole analogy. Like my head is nodding and I'm going to a bit of La La Land when you're speaking about Shibari, being the demo and I've been at parties and with DJs and then there's been like all of this sort of stuff going on and I'm the person being tied. I've been, hung on like in a tripod that I leave my body.
Mm-hmm.
And so now if someone just starts putting rope on my ankle, just starts doing the first wrap, I start
Mm-hmm.
like I don't even have to say like, I've gone. Like I find it so central.
And I
I
know
find
it's the
it
same
very
for
much.
people with tattoos. We can't move, or else it might mess up, or we could be injured. Same with rope. You don't want to move too quickly or in the wrong direction. You could get injured.
Mhm.
And even if people aren't in the kink community, if they've had any experience with tattoos or any kind of craft that has taken a long time, you know what it's like to just do that same motion over and over and just lose time, essentially.
There's a beautiful saying, it's like, how do you move without moving? So moving within yourself. How do you move your energy? How do you stay present? How do you, the breath, all of that, so where your whole body is still. And it also, for me, represents that part in life of just is, because there's not, I often get, well, what's the point? What's the point of you being tied up? And I was like, what sort of question is that? Is point, like what point? There isn't a point. There is the being, there's the essence, who knows? There's the unknown, there's
Yeah.
the curiosity of just being present. And that to me is a huge part of sacred cock massage, really allowing a man to receive. Like I've had partners, and also when I've worked with women and they've gifted it to their partners, where for many, many times the man moves through this space of uncomfortability that he doesn't have to give anything back. He doesn't have to produce anything. He doesn't have to be sitting there clocking, well, I've then got to give the same back, or I've then got to do something. This aspect of the place of nothingness, to be in, to be in his mastery of time and space, which is just to be and just to receive, obviously when the excitement gets really high, to use the breath, to raise it up your spine into your head. Like even today on the call, today's call with Fully Charged was the practicalities. We're now going to teach you how to raise all of this energy up your spine, and how to masturbate well, and how to pattern interrupt, and all about the PNR, the point of no return. And we did the breath. I said, okay, this is the microcosmic orbit, and this is how you do it at the end of your masturbation practice. All of the men on the call all felt something. I'm like, but I could feel it up my spine. So, oh my God, I could feel, oh my God, my whole skin. It's like, yeah, it's available to you all the time.
I actually, one of the questions that I had written down, you're already kind of explaining, so I'm going to go ahead and read what I had written down. But I said that men always feel the need to be the biggest, the best, and know how to fuck. But I've noticed that men feel ashamed to ask questions with each new partner for fear of looking stupid. Do you see that a lot? And how do you tell people to shift their mindset?
Oh, that even came up last night. It's really touched my heart, even just that, because men believe they're the lone wolf. When you're saying it's like they feel ashamed to ask, I know that to be such a deep, deep part of the psyche of men, of the masculine. And when I go into the bigger, we've even had like the bigger concept is like this whole world of monogamy, this whole world that the man has to provide. He has to work out his own life. He's got to push. He's got to produce. He has to be the CEO of his life. It's like this, it's a solo journey.
And you had just posted about that as well. The CEO.
Yeah. So the solo journey has created this aspect in men today. A lot of these men that we all have to win. Like, you can't all win. It's like, winning against what? It's like, well, everyone's just pushing on this solo journey to get as much as they can, to provide what they can, you say, to be the bigger, that whole, and that translates into the best. I've just got to fuck the best. But it's like that sort of one linear idea of what that looks like. Don't ask questions. The lone wolf. I've got to work this out myself. And I worked years ago with a gentleman who, 3 children, they'd been married 13, 14 years, absolutely adored the hell out of his woman. She didn't know that he was working with me, so he was doing all of this work in the background, to show up more. And there was this moment in our coaching, and he was, talking about like sex weekends, like 3 children. Okay, they go away on holiday with the children. When have you had a sexcation with your partner? Yeah. Like, even that word is like a sexcation. Once a year, you need to have a sexcation. So he was organizing it. But he emailed me. I can't remember if he told me vocally or if he emailed me. And it was like, do you think she would like going to here? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not her. Yeah. that was right there. It's like, I don't know. You've lived with her for 13, been married to her for 13 years. But through that conversation, he's like, for him, it's like, well, I can't really ask her because that's shameful that I don't know. And then say, I've never really found out these things, and I don't ask because I don't want to look as if I'm failing, and just how that ripples out to everything. I should know. I don't want to ask, or I don't want to say anything because it's not completely produced yet. All of that stuff. So it shows up in the bedroom. It's like, we should know these things. How should you know these things? On my website, it says, great lovers are not born, they are made. So if the invitation is for the men, it's like, it's not shameful. It's actually really, women love it. Women want you to ask questions.
Yeah.
Your lover wants you to speak, like noise, like, making noise. Also, men stay quiet often in their lovemaking. They're really, you don't even know that they've ejaculated because they're quiet about it. Like, that's to me insane. How can you feel? Well, it mustn't be that great. It mustn't be that intense if you can stay quiet through it.
Yeah.
But even if we look at the tantric expression of what noise does, sound releases stress, then it expands your pleasure 4 times, up to 4 times. So detoxification, like anger, fear, grief, we need to let it out. We can't hold it within us. So with pleasures, like if you're in touch of becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable, there's all of this stuff going on in your body. You breathe, you use sound. And as you use sound, your pleasure will expand. And so if we think of wording, if you're uncomfortable with something, you're not quite sure, you don't know what to do, ask the questions, say the words out loud, that sound has come out, you're going to receive the answer you need, and now you're going to have a more pleasurable time. So, coaching with men, it's reassuring them that to ask. And
Yeah.
even on the group call last night, one guy, or was it 2 nights ago, there was another group call I was on. And I always ask what the takeaways were. And this gentleman said, it's like that I can actually ask questions to a lover. I can actually let her know that I want to know. I can
Mm-hmm.
set up the conversation about sex before sex. It's
Yep.
like, yes.
And I think myself and anyone that has a neurodivergent brain, we kind of understand that people change over time much faster than other people do, because let's say there's, have you ever heard of like safe foods, or like I'm hyper focused on this one meal this month, but there are times like I go through waves, and I know my partner does as well, to where I'm eating this for every meal because I love it, and then all of a sudden I just don't like it anymore. But people that are neurotypical, they kind of go through that over years, but we go
Mhm.
through that over months. And I remember even being a child and hating spicy food, and now I love spicy food. And so I think that people asking questions, even if they've been together decades, it should be a reoccurring thing, because what if their mindset has changed? What if they've liked it and they want to move further and do more? Or what if they don't like it anymore and they want to kind of like change it to a different thing?
I think this is one of the biggest lies that we're fed in relationship perception. We all change.
Mm-hmm.
Every 7 years, you have a complete different skin suit. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's all changed. It's all shifted. You have a whole new skin every 7 years. Your red blood cells every 3 months, every 90 days. It's like we are different all the time. And yes, we change, and our hormones change, and our way that we see life change. We're always, hopefully, always learning. So as we learn more stuff, our ideas on life change as well. So, the belief that a man, it's really supporting men and inviting them to understand that they don't have to know it all. And the fact that they stay silent and believing that they need to know it all, that actually trips them up. It's not getting what they want. So when I work with men, it's like starting with the baby steps or starting with other parts of their life. Because too, if we're looking at the pressure of showing up in the bedroom, if that's like a clunky area, then don't just go straight to that to practice new things. You've got to do it in the rest of your life. Like when even working with men about who don't stand up for themselves around how they truly want their coffee. Or when I always get clients, these are men and women too. It's like, go to a restaurant, order a meal, but change the sauces, ask for this, get that. Because, oh no, no. If you want to have, if
Yeah.
you want to have the salmon with no potato, no mashed potatoes, you want fries instead, or you want green peas, ask for it. Ask for
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's like, for some people, it's like, it's like, that's not being arrogant. That's getting your needs met. So start there. So I have
Mm-hmm.
it's like, start at the menu, start elsewhere. And then when they start asking, and then asking questions, it's like, oh, what is that? What is that song? If you're in a cafe and you hear a great song on, ask the cashier what the song is.
Mm-hmm.
Just reach out and ask. And for some people, that's really big stuff. So when we get used to doing that, so okay, now in the bedroom, ask,
Mm-hmm.
ask your partner. Da, 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 da. So yeah, it's beautiful.
And when you said something about making noises, a common request, I think it's across the board for anyone that does any kind of sexual content, is jerk off instructions. And a lot of people like to incorporate edging into that as well. But one of my favorite things to incorporate in there is for them to either, I'm not in the room, I don't know if they actually do this or not, but I like to ask them to either, do a deep guttural moan, or to say my name, or to say yes, or to even count with me. And I've had a couple of people say that they like that I do that. And I know that with my partner the other day, so he doesn't like to be monotone and doing the same thing every single time. But I told him that it's been a while since you've grabbed my face and whispered in my ear, "Do you want to fuck me?" And he goes, "Well, I didn't want to do that every time." And I'm like, "You don't have to do it every time, but you haven't done it in a while. I want to hear you say it." And I think it helps that connection, and it helps get like, it's hard to get out of the mindset of your day-to-day things and what you're going to do next. So if you can interrupt that with the noise, it's definitely beneficial.
I love how you've described in real time the map of arousal of a woman, and
Hmm.
also the coherence of our primal brain with one another, with the people that we're attracted to. So the map of arousal of a woman is head, heart, then pussy. For man, it's cock, heart, head. Like in the Taoist culture, it's like the man's spiritual work is to raise his energy up. A woman's spiritual work is to come down. But as you say, like you're in your busy day, you need your attention pulled, and your attention pulled needs to be about you. It's like what's wanted of you, that you're desired, that you're
Mm-hmm.
wanted, and when the want, if our lover wants, if it's obvious that they want us, there's actually a sense of safety in that. Oh, I'm chosen right now in
Oh
this
yeah.
moment. Oh, the attention's on. Oh, how I
Mm-hmm.
am, how exactly I am is wantable by you. You're directing your attention to that. That's actually safety. It's really interesting. It's like, when the word safety gets used a lot towards women, it's like, oh, physical safety from not being harmed. Yet the safety of the system, when our nervous system is safe. So if we're up in our head and we're thinking about things and we're really busy and we've got loads of lists going on, we basically don't have any, our testosterone is only 13 to 15% of a man's at any one time. So when a man has
Yeah.
100% of testosterone, we've only got 13, 15%. As soon as that is used, our body has to produce cortisol to keep upright and to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other issue that we have in late stage. What did you call it?
Capitalism, late stage capitalism.
Late stage
Just
cap.
needing to sell all the time and needing to always keep up with the Joneses and all of these
Tell
things
you
that
what, the
bigger,
fucking
better,
Joneses have a lot.
more.
I mean, also too, if we're going to keep up with the family, why can't they have a better last name? It's a bit unglory. I
I
know that saying.
know.
That's my thing. It's like, Joe, who wants to keep up with the Joneses? Like, seriously, they're boring as bad shit. White picket, who wants a white picket fence? But anyway, that's my Scorpio mind going. "Arr."
Yeah.
So we are running on, women are basically running on cortisol for days, weeks, months, years. There's another huge issue around what happens in regenopause, which they call menopause. Let me tell you, none of my friends we're not putting men on pause. That could be and there's no fucking pause. It's like we now can't get pregnant. So it's like, are you serious? It's like, let's more,
Yeah.
more. I have more time.
Yeah.
So anywho, so that when we're looking at women's, at the end of the day, even by midday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, our system that's been running on cortisol, the overthinking in the mind, what that does to our endocrine system. So when your lover comes, or when you're saying you want for him to come and just, number one, there's the primal cohesion, is like the tone of his voice to
Mm-hmm.
your system is like, mm. So there's the tone of his voice, the way that he would be speaking to you because of his desire, as opposed to, hey, babe, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? Like, it's a very different tone.
Yeah.
So that goes straight to your primal brain. The fact that it's directional, he's telling you exactly, it gets you out.
Mm-hmm.
But now your body, boom, you have a hormonal shift. So cortisol is flushed out of the best and easiest way to flush cortisol out of a woman's body is oxytocin and dopamine. So you get the dopamine hit, oxytocin, the pleasure. And then if he was to touch your skin and walk away, and he's turning your mind on. So your mind, like the direct, will see, hear all of this part. Now your heart starts to open towards him, and then your pussy opens. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's necessary.
I bring up the talks that I have with my partner a lot because he feels that he hasn't been able to really talk with a partner about like things that he says that are assumed that he should know, like how to
Mm.
finger someone or like what positions and why that position. The other day he had said, well, when you say that it hurts, like, am I too big? And I'm like, you're great. And I had to explain to him about how the vaginal walls and the cervical roof ceiling, whatever you want to call it. I was like, those things are at their baseline, tight and in this little box. And especially when I'm walking or working out or even just trying to maintain a posture. But if you get me to relax, then I start to open up. And so then when you're inserting, it's not going to hit the ceiling. And it's not that anybody could be too long or too girthy or whatever. Everyone has a preference. But if you allow my body to relax and become aroused, you don't need just wetness. You need wetness and the associated relaxing of the muscles, especially inside. That's been our topic of conversation this week.
Oh, how beautiful. Can I expand on that with you?
Yes.
Ah, so yeah, it's really interesting. It's, wetness isn't a sign of readiness for a woman's body. And In the Taoists, they teach that it takes up to 45 minutes for a woman's body to be ready for penetration. Science has pushed it to 20 to 45 minutes. So also too, when we look at the gateways of orgasm, so clitoral orgasm actually prepares the vagina, the tissue and the vagina, and the internal workings, so her cervix, everything softens through a clitoral orgasm. So the clitoral orgasm is the first gateway. It's a physical gateway. It prepares, it brings blood and fluid into the vagina. So when we're looking at 45 minutes of ready for penetration, that is, guys often freak about that. And then there's, foreplay. It's like, it's not foreplay, it's core play. Core play is necessary because also one thing to understand if women are using tampons or a cup, and it's actually especially like using tampons and a cup and we're not lubricated, like women are just changing, we're actually creating a lot of micro tears in the tissue.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're receiving penetration too early, then there's these micro tears in the tissue. And so when we're looking at the opposing maps of arousal, it's like head, heart, pussy. All of this is the preparation. And it can start with like text messaging. You're on your way home or you're in another room and you text you. And like we see that and we start to, things are happening. It's like,
Or even walking around the mall holding my hand, or just a simple physical touch.
Yeah, where our bodies are starting to become more flooded with oxytocin and dopamine, and the cortisol's being flushed out. And as you say, they're relaxing. It's like, busy day, hop in the car. You've got to go to the mall to pick up things. He opens your door, takes your hand. The fact that you're walking next to it, we're looking at osmosis too. You're walking next to your beloved. Your body, your system is relaxing next to it. It's like, and just when he looks and smiles at you, just touches your chin and just says, I fucking love you. Or like, you're fucking beautiful. It's like, hey, babe, I've got you. I'm cooking dinner tonight. This is the opening of our body. It is a huge part of what is needed to be with a woman. I have years ago, men that just get so annoyed. It takes so long. It's like, it's all right, sweetheart. Start fucking men.
Yeah.
If it is too much for you, which is all power to you, we all have choice. So start fucking men, because men's bodies don't need so much time. And if you don't want to take time and you don't want to understand that there's that opening, that's awesome. You have choice.
I like to ask men if they say something like, it takes too long, then I'm like, okay, well, are you able to come twice back to back? And they go, well, no, I can't rebound that quickly. And then I go, okay, well, imagine that feeling after the first coming and you're trying to get aroused again. That's how I feel initially, unless we have that time together. If we don't have that time together, then you understand what it feels like to have that struggle to be aroused quickly. But I do know that you had talked about the difference between coming and orgasming and trying to separate the two.
Yeah, it isn't. Yeah.
And I thought that I was weird because, when I was in my early 20s and you're just
out great.
They're great for testing things out and learning the hard way.
Right.
But when I was with my first boyfriend, I didn't start dating till I was 18, 19. He would say, oh, did you come? And then I'm like, yeah, I came, but I didn't have an orgasm. And then he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I don't know if this is how you define it, but how I've always defined it when talking to partners is, well, if I'm coming, my body came. But if I'm having an orgasm, then I had the tingles all through my head. And I'm actually like going back to like the primal guttural moments. And that's how I separate it, because my pussy has a mind of its own. It's going to do what it's going to do. That's just what it's built for. But if you want me to really have time to enjoy it, and that's also why I've told my current partner that I love having quickies, because I don't always have time to get my mind there, but I enjoy sex. So if we can let you have fun with it, I enjoy watching you have fun. But if you want me to have an orgasm, it's going to have to be a date night, or we're going to have to take an hour of just like, the cuddling and then the kissing and then the foreplay and then
Beautiful. So yes, and and also too, to understand that men, ejaculation, well, orgasm doesn't mean ejaculation in the man's body. So when we're looking, and science speaks about how I actually can't say especially for women's body, orgasm happens in the mind, because when a woman has a full-blown orgasm, her whole brain is lit up except for two parts. And those two parts in our brain is the safety,
Hmm.
the part that's geared for safety, looking for safety. And the other part is judgment. So when she doesn't give a fuck,
Yeah.
when she knows she's truly safe, which is exactly what you're talking about, the hour, the time, the da 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 da, then her whole brain is lit up, and that's the orgasm brain happens. Orgasm happens in the brain. When and if we're going to quantify it, Tantra speaks about, and I think Taoist does the same. There's 11 different types of orgasms, more once you get further and further into the energetic and combination ones, to a woman's body, and there's 8 to a man. Ejaculatory is 1. And and exactly what this program's about that I'm in at the moment with the men is teaching them to separate their ejaculation from orgasms so they can experience orgasms and not ejaculate, and have all of those neurotransmitters and all of the hormones and neurotransmitters, the zinc, and ejaculation is the biggest zinc draw on a man's body. And we were speaking about it today. I know I did an email, and God, I was going to look at those numbers before I came on because I forget. I do so much study, I do so much writing,
Yeah.
that just like numbers all in here. I'm like, I'm going to go and sit by the river. I'm like, I can't remember that person's name, but it's a great study. But it's something like over 200 computers of a certain size. One ejaculation, the power that's in one, the amount of information that's in one ejaculation. And the ejaculate of a man is the building block of a human life. Look
And
at
it's
us.
semen and other fluids, right?
Well, it's the zinc, yeah. So semen, yes, the semen is only 3%, 3%.
That's hilarious.
3%, dudes. There's only 3% of your ejaculate that is going to create a human. The rest is for you. And that's where the tantrics say they're spiritual, they have to raise it up. So when we're looking at neurotransmitters, hormones, there's vitamins, magnesium, potassium, collagen. I mean, the collagen is the best sunburn cream.
Yeah. And that's why they say cum is a great facial.
Great facial is also years ago, it was called, they did these studies, one woman called it penis Prozac. One of my teachers, she called it penis Prozac. Because they did this study. New York is just full of studies. They're always studying out in New York. What have they got? Fucking clinics all over New York somewhere. But they did this study with depressed women. And so they took a group of women that were partnered, that were experiencing depression. And so half of the group used barriers during sex, the other half didn't. The half that didn't use barriers, their depression dropped, their happiness rose. Because
And you
the
mean like
tissue,
condoms and things like that
yes,
as a barrier?
barriers, yeah, condoms
Okay.
and stuff like that. So women that did not use barriers, the ejaculate was absorbed into their vagina tissue, which goes into their body. And so the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, the collagen, everything was absorbed into their body, and their depression dropped. When we're separating, when a man is just obsessed with his ejaculate, that it has to ejaculate, he has to produce his ejaculatory. As time goes on, especially men, I work with a lot of men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and the amount of health issues, the amount of ED, the amount of all of this stuff, and also just not having arousal, because it's just this constant depletion in their system over their decades. So in the Taoist, I can't remember the numbers, but it depends what decade you're into, how many times to ejaculate. I know, especially by the time you get into your 60s, it's not to ejaculate. Masturbate as much as you want all day, have as much sex as you want, but don't ejaculate. Raise all of that up, have the brain orgasms, the heart orgasms. You have a prostate gland inside of your anus, which is the non-refractory orgasm. Or when you're talking about, yes, how we need to feel connected to open, and you're using the analogy of coming back to back. My analogy I use with men is anal. It's like, okay, we'll go to your anus and just go in. And they're like, this is like, no. And it's like, so that's us. You're about to enter inside of another human's body. It's a whole body of that. You're about to come inside of that. And if you've got a contraction about your anus where someone's entering your body through an orifice, then hello, it's the same. Just like, it's like, it just sits them the fuck down sometimes. Like, okay, I get it. And it's like, yeah, it's not a nasty thing. It's like, you don't want to just be entered. You need lots of lube. You need conversations. You need all of that stuff, It's a great analogy. So we're talking separation, raising it up your spine, using it within your body. And same thing, yes, with a woman too. It's like, and also too, there's the obsession with the ejaculatory orgasm in a woman. Like, I want to make her squirt. And the whole conversation around the G spot. It's not a fucking spot. It's a gland. It's an area. It's the emotional orgasm in Tantra. But there's so many different types of orgasms in that as well. You can ejaculate or you may not. There can just be a seeping of a milky fluid, and there's all of this whole body and brain experiences through it, but you may not have ejaculated and flooded the floor. I've had a completely flooded the floor in my own practice. And I just sobbed. I cried and cried. Like it was just this immense feeling for a while. And then I sobbed and then I ejaculated. It wasn't all of the, do you know what I mean? So I'm just saying it's so different. It's the emotional orgasm. It's just
It's like when I tell people I like rock music and they go, well, which kind? And I'm like, it's all rock music. It's like, well, did you come? Well, which kind? You know, it's
Oh my God, I love that. I love
now
that analogy.
I have had a lot of requests for people to have me record me squirting, and I have never in my life. I've tried. I'm even in a chat room with, I think, 30 other porn stars or, people that make sexual content like that. And I'm like, okay, I need all you to chime in. How did you make yourself squirt the first time? And everyone's giving me their tips and tricks. And I tried all of them. None of them worked. And that was over months that I had tried, and I still haven't been able to. And I don't know, when you said that it's just a different kind, I don't know if it's just a biological thing of my body doesn't do that, or if it's I didn't do it right.
Oh, it's so interesting. It's like, I didn't do it right. Oh God, it's such a big paradigm, isn't it? You've done everything perfectly. Let's just get that straight. I know there's a lot of studies out there and they talk about how, some women ejaculate really easy. It's like some guys have, when men talk about they have delayed ejaculation. I'm like, no, you had even that word delayed ejaculation as opposed to no, you know how to handle the energy. It's like, it's just because you're not coming in 5 minutes. For me, I would be looking at the emotional level. Mm-hmm. In Tantra, the G-spot, the tissue is this second gateway is our emotional orgasm. And so, also too, when we look at techniques, the techniques that they say to work, they piss me, I get really angry at those. I've had sacred yoni massage, for 4 hours, and I've had, got so angry at the guy that was, just doing it so fast. And when I put in a boundary and he stopped and he honored me, then I actually went intergalactic. I remember I was up with all of the stars. I was up in the solar thing. They had to bring me back down. It was a public demo. We did that. But I remember for that time, and that's when I first got access. For me, it was placing in a boundary. And also, if I consider the arena, I was being used as a model for this tantric teacher who was holding a course, holding a workshop. So we had 15 people in this room. And so it was kind of like the pressure was on that he was going to give me an ejaculatory orgasm to show how it's done. And I fucking hated everything he was doing. And yet that is what everyone says, go really fast. And my body was a fuck no to it. Mm-hmm. And I remember laying there going, fuck, I need to say no, this is not so great. I don't like it, but shit, I'm the demo, and shit, this is what's meant to happen. And I actually reared up. Obviously my inner child it was just like, got up. I was fucking stop that.
Yeah.
And he was just like, sure. And as soon as I was received well, and as soon as I wasn't, I was like, oh, you're annoying, or you're just whatever. And that, to me, that's what broke it for me. As in, flooded, opened the floodgates, because I was able to put in a boundary. I wasn't made wrong. I had the power. Mm-hmm. Form, I went intergalactic, and apparently I was gushing and stuff, but I was out of my body. So that's where I go with that. When I think of the one where I was crying in my own practice and flooded the floor, that was all emotional. I would maybe look at that. Yeah. With the holding back, the safety. Do you cry in sex?
Okay. Have you ever, do you work out or run or climb or anything like that? When my muscles get fatigued, I kind of just can't move and I'm just on the floor and I am the floor. I have had that feeling after sex. I have had close to tears, but it was more of I just had this amazing sex and now all these fears are starting to creep in and replace it almost. And I don't know. I haven't sobbed or anything like that before.
Okay, that's my intrigue for you.
Yeah.
Invitation is to allow yourself to cry during sex.
Yeah. I know you're doing the 6-week course right now. Do you do just personal sessions or is it always a group?
No. I do one-on-ones. Yeah, I take on clients one-on-one, couples, singles. the whole thing.
For people that are scared to go into uncharted territory or into a restaurant without going in there first or seeing pictures or a menu before they look at the menu,
Mm.
what is the structure of your sessions?
So when I when a client and I decide to join one another's field,
Yeah.
it's 3 to 4 months. So we have a call every week, and we always start at the beginning. I always have a take-in call. First of all, we have a discovery call. Let's see, like, what are your needs? What is your curiosity? What are you looking for? My discovery call is like an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, because I really want to make sure I'm the right person for you. And do you feel safe with me? It's like
Hmm.
also, do you feel like you could lean into this? And then I want to make sure that, yes, I can support you. And then we meet weekly because I love that whole thing of accountability. Like you need to be held, like you're going to shift into new territory. When I work with clients, it's not just on sex education, it's also on the subconscious brain, it's on communication. I do venting, that whole up level system. Um, as an erotic blueprint coach, we look at your erotic blueprint as well. You're not required to enjoy a certain type of sex if that's not your jam. So we go into the erotic blueprint, see what works for your nervous system. And yeah, there's so much. That's why I take clients on for at least 3 to 4 months, 12, 13 calls over 4 months, so that there's a consistency and then it's related to what's going on with you, what comes up. Because as we know, how we do one thing is how we do everything. If we're going to go into intimacy and sex, all of it, the stuff that comes up, the layers that come up. So I use accelerated evolution processing. I use the processing inside of up-level communication as well when we're looking at, you know, our past and how that arrives into the bedroom as well. So it's not just the practicality. It's a really deep dive. And my calls are always like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
For the longevity. So it's just not fast and it's just like, rushed.
Yeah. One of the questions that I had written down was, do you think that people that have gone through trauma or people that have a heightened sense of impending danger or people pleasers, do you think that they are better at sex because they listen to their partner's body language more? I'm not saying that it is a fact that they are. I'm just saying, does that make someone a better partner?
They might be more attuned to giving and doing what they believe their partner wants. I mean, just to have a straight answer, I would say no, because if someone is people pleasing and if someone is just attuning to their partner, they're not bringing themselves into the situation.
Okay.
So if I'm thinking of a nervous system that's just like out there, because to me that they wouldn't be so present in their own body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the performance, the doing, the making sure, and yet where are they in the equation? And therefore, to me, that just brings up stress. Like even thinking about that makes me feel a little bit, if I think about what's my body reaction to thinking about that, there's going to be stress because it's like, what happens if your partner changes? What happens if all of this stuff and you're trying to navigate that as opposed to you bringing yourself into it, that person bringing themselves into it,
Mm-hmm.
asking for their needs to be met. So no.
Yeah. In a post a few weeks ago, you talked about how men, and I think we touched on this a little bit ago. In a post from a few weeks ago, you talked about how men want to feel desired in a relationship. What is one struggle you see them go through that you help them with when it comes to being vulnerable with their partner?
Oh, I love this question. I think that's a big misconception when I work with women and couples too. It's like where the man truly wants to be desired. Yes, he wants to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm working with a woman who's definitely get into like sacred cock, honoring your man's cock and giving to him so he can just receive. So many different layers. First of all, it's like, what is his love language? If his love language is words of affirmation, where he gets to share with his partner, hey, when you say these types of words to me, I feel really seen. I feel really loved by you. I feel really connected by you. Like getting partners to have this type of conversation. What makes you feel loved? What makes you feel seen? If I was to say these certain words, does that work for you? If I was to touch you this way, how does that work for you? Or does it not really mean that much? So starting with that, it's not a basic conversation. It's
Yeah.
so necessary. How do you want to be loved? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
um, and even to show. And so starting at that level where we're looking at intimacy, words, touch outside of the bedroom so that it then translates into the bedroom and really supporting men. I always straight away, if I'm working with a client that's really shut down with asking for their needs to be met, it's like Minister Perel says it this way. It's like, tell me how you were raised. I will show you how you love. So I go back to not 0 to 7, 7 to 14, what was happening. How were your needs, did you have a voice?
Mm-hmm.
Were you asked really good questions? Were you given the space? And so we look at that sort of stuff first, work on the subconscious brain, which is really, when I say simple, there's some great stuff about working on the subconscious brain. Look at that first and go, oh, you're not that little boy anymore. You're this, this beautiful, fully fledged adult, and you have the right to ask. And it's about, leaning into that muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Baby steps, and she's like, okay, go to the bedroom and get your woman to massage your cock this way.
Yeah, my words of affirmation, or my love language is physical touch. I want you to jerk it right now. Go.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah. And it's also, for men, oh my God, men just want to be seen. Can you imagine, like, just where the woman walks in and gets on their knees and just pulls down the, unzips and just loves and adores his cock, just up against the wall. To allow men to know that, yes, you have the right to ask for that. But where's the intimate currency so that the environment can really receive that? And also to bring it up outside of the moment. Say, hey, babe, I have this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I so deeply desire to have you do this to me. What do you need from me so that you can do that? That's also, how do you ask? What do you need from me? Is there something I can, I would love to know what you need, and I would love to give to you, so that you're comfortable in giving back to me, whatever, it's like, so to have the conversation outside of the bedroom as well. Because when we leave it to the last moment, and also too, if we've left it to the last moment and we've been thinking about it, and then the way it comes out is like,
Yeah.
why don't you do this?
I know for myself, I love oral sex and receiving it, but I can't mentally receive it unless I've given something in return. And so usually I wait until they've already come, and then I'm like, okay, let's go, then I'm okay with doing it. But if they try to go down on me before we do anything, I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm going straight to like the emotional orgasm, straight to the ability to receive. There's so many layers here. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were watching Materialist the other day with Chris Evans, the girl that was in 50 Shades of Grey. I can't remember her name. And then Pedro Pascal. They were all the main characters in this movie. In one of the dinners that the girl was having with Pedro Pascal, who was playing the rich love interest that she was supposed to be with, that she would, or that they matched on paper really well. She at some point said that she wanted to feel of high value. She wanted to feel valued in some way, just looking at me and talking to me. And then my partner looked at me and he goes, do I make you feel valuable? And I said, I don't want to feel valuable. I want to feel seen and heard. And I want to feel like we are together in this. I don't want to feel like I am valuable, because in sex work, I know I'm valuable. Even when it comes to knowledge and helping friends out or having the time and resources to give to somebody, I already know I'm valuable. I want to feel like I am a person, and it's very different. And so he was like, oh, okay. Because he grew up with a low income family. I grew up growing up at a country club, and my dad always gave me presents, Tiffany's and Louis Vuitton. And my dad always told me, I don't want you to be impressed because a man gives you a present. And so it's really hard for my partner to understand that, because he's like, well, I can't give you those things. I'm like, that's fine. I already gave myself those things. Do you not see the hoarder that I am? I'm fine. I want you and I to have that connection and being able to talk about things that might be uncomfortable, or being able to be people individually and together. So it's just very different. And I think it ties back to love languages as well.
And this is, the thing, isn't it? It's like two people are together for their own reasons. When we understand that relationships are about our growth, we create our life. Relationships about our growth. Love is the benefit. Yes, we have the adrenaline, the dopamine, and all of that draws us together. The reason is like, okay, well, now we're attracted to each other, but when we understand we create our life. My mentor, Kenya K. Stevens, is always like, this is her wording. It's like, we create our life. Who do we draw to, and I love saying it, and this is my word, it's like, it's a little bit narcissistic, isn't it? It's all about me. The relationship is about me, because like, I've got to learn about myself. But this coming together entices and is perfect for my lessons. And I
Mhm.
couldn't have these lessons with anyone else other than that person. And love just grows and grows and grows. In our romanticized, monogamous style, monopoly style things, like love will just get you through. It's like, no, it won't.
I have one last question, and
Mhm.
then we can bring this to an end.
Beautiful.
What is something that you had to learn the hard way that you wish everyone knew?
Oh, exactly that, actually, what we just spoke. The biggest lesson I learned, if I look at back when I was, teenage 20s and now, as a woman, as a woman growing up in Australia, rural Australia,
Hmm.
bit of a religious sort of background stuff, it's just like there's nothing dangerous about your sexuality. There's only power about in your desire. That as a woman, your desire, your sexuality is actually, it's like it's your gold. It's not this thing that needs to be earned. It's not this thing that is shameful. It is not this thing that you just put on a Sunday because you have to work and like you might have time on a Sunday afternoon. It's actually to be your GPS,
Yeah.
to be the core. Um, and, it's not just as a woman, it's like as a woman, that's been my journey. And that's also why I work with men, for them to understand their sexual power. It's not something that's just depleted that you throw away. It's something that you use in your body for your excellence. And if we turn our cultural narrative back into bringing all of that into the center of the temples, the temple of our body, the temple of going to make love, the temple of using our sexuality to create our life, then holy fucking bejesus. What a world we would live in. So yes.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking with me. I loved
Oh,
speaking with you. For everyone
so my
else,
pleasure.
yeah, I'm going to put all of her information below in the caption so that you can see how to get a hold of her, see her content,
Mhm.
and hopefully grow sexually. So
Mm,
it'll be fun.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.